watching NASA TV.
This is Mission Control Houston. Good morning. You're getting a live view from the inside of the International Space Station. On board at the forward end of your view, seeing the back of his head right now, is NASA astronaut Mike Hopkins. He's assisting along with Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency astronaut Soichi Noguchi, who is out of frame, for two American astronauts who are about to conduct a spacewalk today to prepare for future upgrades to the International Space Station's power systems. Already suited up and in between in-suit light exercise activities to purge the nitrogen from their bloodstream as they breathe 100% oxygen inside those suits are NASA astronauts Victor Glover, who is situated on the left there, and NASA astronaut Kate Rubins. Kate Rubins is taking the position of EV1 as the lead for today's spacewalk. She'll be wearing the suit with the red stripes, Victor Glover the suit with no stripes. Both American astronauts have conducted 3 spacewalks in their career. Kate Rubins 2 previously on her former flight. Victor Glover the 2 previous spacewalks on this flight. You see they're almost matching in terms of total career spacewalking time. This spacewalk will be the 235th in support of International Space Station assembly, maintenance, and upgrades, and the 3rd of this year, the 4th spacewalk for Expedition 64.
US EVA 71, EV1 will egress the joint airlock first. You'll see EV1 has the red stripes and EV2 the white suit. EV2 will pass out the 2 strut bags containing structure to support new solar arrays. EV2 will head out to P1 where he will install the anchor hooks for the crew's safety tether. Now this is what we call a slingshot and will give them the 170 feet of length that they need to get all the way out to P6. At that point, both crew members will translate to P6 and install their respective bags on the 4 Bravo and 2 Bravo work sites. EV1 will translate back inboard and retrieve a portable foot restraint with a extension and head back to join EV2 at the 2 Bravo worksite. EV1 will set up this portable foot restraint for access to the mod kit install, and then translate over to the bag where both crew members will begin building what we call the upper triangle, which includes the mounting bracket, a left strut, and a right strut. They'll use their pistol grip tool to assemble that triangle. Once it's complete, EV1 will be in the portable foot restraint and EV2 will hand it off to EV1. Here you see EV1 installing this on the mass canister. There's a strong soft dock feature that will hold it in place. Once it's positioned in place, EV1 will use the pistol grip tool to drive 4 bolts. EV1 will then reposition the foot restraint for access to the left side of the mod kit. Here you see the mid-strut on EV1's body restraint tether. EV1 will hold the lower strut while EV2 gets into position. They'll work together to install the left lower strut. EV2 will start off by driving the bolt with his pistol grip tool, and EV1 will drive the upper bolt that connects it to the mounting bracket. They'll then work together to install the mid-strut on the left side. Here you can see EV2 driving 4 bolts that hold it to the mass canister, similar to the H fixtures that were recently removed. And EV1 will drive the bolt to secure it to the upper strut. EV1 will then reposition the APFR and get back in after getting the mid-strut on her BRT. BRT standing for body restraint tether. She'll get back into the portable foot restraint, receive the right lower strut, and then EV2 will translate around the mass canister for access to the installation point for the right lower strut. Again, just like the left side, they'll be working together to drive their respective bolts with their pistol grip tool. EV2 will translate up for the mid-strut install, where he'll drive 4 bolts. EV1 will have a single bolt, and then EV2 will tighten the clamp bolts on both sides. The mid-struts are telescoping, and this clamp bolt prevents it from telescoping any further once it's in place. The crew will then work together to secure the thermal blankets over all of the struts and make sure they're in place, as well as verifying that the pit pins that provide grounding paths for the structure are also in place. They'll then grab the necessary tools and head over to the 4 Bravo worksite. Very similar, kind of a mirror image to what they were working on previously. EV1 will install the APFR, or the portable foot restraint, and they'll work together again to build the upper triangle, consisting of the 2 upper struts and a mounting bracket. EV1 in the portable foot restraint will receive the upper triangle, install that in place, and then they'll get set up to install the final piece to get to what we call the minimum configuration. By installing this right lower strut, the system is now in a good configuration to leave it out and operate Space Station nominally. If we didn't have this installed, then we would need to perform a tie down to make sure that everything was structurally sound before heading back in. If there is extra time, we'll continue to build the 4 Bravo mod kit on this EVA. If not, we have plans to perform the rest of the install on the next EVA. The crew will then pack the empty bag with the tools that they plan to bring inside. EV2 will carry that back to the airlock. Both crew members will translate back to the airlock from P6. They'll leave the slingshots out, meaning that the tethers will be strung out to P1 because we'll use them again on a future EVA. EV2 will put the bag in the airlock and ingress, followed by EV1, who will then close the hatch.
This is Mission Control Houston. Again, you are getting live views from the International Space Station. Victor Glover is currently being positioned inside the crew lock today. His setup procedures are complete. Leak checks are good. Tethers and tools are configured and ready to go. Now Hopkins is inside the crew lock with him, and Soichi Noguchi giving him one final push to get him positioned and ready for today's spacewalk. Inside the crew airlock right now, Kate Rubins and Victor Glover completing the steps to make sure that they are operating on battery power. Now with that, we're seeing Kate Rubins, the first out the hatch, beginning today's spacewalk.
Alright, second the airlock forward, hatch 15 is engaged, good config.
Okay, we copy engaged, good config. And Ike, the first thing you'll be transferring out is strut bag 2 with 2 pieces of tape.
Kate Rubins will be wearing the suit with red stripes today. Victor Glover, the suit with no stripes. Glover is still inside the crew lock. He will be passing out the strut bags. These are very large bags containing the tools and equipment that they need to install in the mast canisters, the main objective for today's spacewalk.
And Kate and Ike, we're back with you. Let me know when you guys are ready for buddy checks.
All right. Got my BRT on there. I'm just tightening it up now. Yeah, it's going to do what it's going to do. Yep. All right, my tape is toward my feet. Okay, my tape is towards my head.
Once both Rubins and Glover are in a good configuration, they'll perform some buddy checks, just making sure that both of them, with a good view of each other, looks like they're configured properly. All the tethers and tools and the configurations of the suits themselves all look good before they go ahead and make their way out to the work site on the far end of the space station.
Yeah.
Buddy checks. With EV3 and 4 here in the way.
Okay. I can see your one FW at data. Let you get that guy out of the way. Right. You have 3 tabs up. And turn a little bit towards me. There we go. The 2 safer handles down. WBS light is not on.
And with that, we're getting views of, from station once again, this is Kate Rubins, who just configured the station's airlock and is now heading over to her work site. Right here, you're looking at the view from the HECA camera, the high-definition view on the helmet camera of Kate Rubins, the first high-definition wide-angle view from the spacesuit, live streamed from TV for the first time.
Copy that. I am at the Sarge. My gauntlets are in place. Continuing outboard.
Copy, Ike.
Yeah, okay, crossing the Sarge, that structure outboard, there's a thinner diameter brace that I think is the easiest one to translate across.
Yeah.
We'll see. It's obviously the smallest one.
All right. I'm up on phase 1.
Copy.
Going slow.
And Ike, as you prefer to go outboard of the Sarge, verify your gauntlets are in place.
My gauntlets were in.
Okay, Frank, yes. APFR is on my, APFR with X on my BRT and headed back towards.
Copy, Kate. And you'll be heading back towards the 2 Bravo IEA.
Copy.
Okay, Frank, 15 and 16 are corrected. Now the bracket tab is in. Both bolts have 2 turns by hand on them.
Copy, Ike.
You can see the construction of the upper triangle. That darker silver portion is the mounting bracket. That is what will eventually hold the iROSA solar arrays that will be delivered later this year, at least the first 2 sets. Also regaining those high-definition views from the helmet camera of Kate Rubins.
And Ike, on mic 13 and 14, those torques were slightly lower than expected. Can you verify that you have a Bravo 3 setting on your PGT?
Okay, yep, stand by.
You can see Rubins on the left there, the suit with the red stripes, configuring the portable foot restraint in the center of what is the mast canister. That's the soda can looking structure off to the left. That's going to give her a good position to reach towards the top of that, where she will install the upper triangle that Glover has been putting together. There's something called a center pad that is specifically designed to mount at the top portion of that mast canister. They're configuring their settings of the pistol grip tool and the portable foot restraint needed before getting situated for the first assembly, the first part of the assembling and installing that modification kit onto the mast canister.
Okay, copy, thank you. And Ike, if you can switch over to Bravo 3 and drive those bolts again, please.
Bravo 3 is set. This is 13, 14, correct?
Affirmative. Mic 13 and mic 14.
X extension is 6. APFR clocking is 12. Ready for APFR pitch.
Copy, Kate. And the WIF-X extension should be 5.
Sorry, it is 5.
Okay, copy 5. And your APFR settings will be 12, Tango, Tango, Foxtrot, 12.
Copy. 30, 12. Tango, Tango, Foxtrot, 12.
Hey, Frank, I got a quarter return on each and 18.4 on standby. 18.4 on 14 and 18.3 on mic 13.
We copy, Ike, and we're checking.
You see Glover putting down his helmet shield, the gold visor that protects his view from the sun as the 2 astronauts enter into an orbital daytime. The station is now in that orbital daytime over Canada, approaching a southeastern course over the Atlantic Ocean. Rubins is configuring the foot restraint to make sure it's in the right angle, giving her the proper position to eventually install that upper triangle that you see within this view that Glover is finalizing the installation of with driving a couple of those last bolts. So you're getting a great view of both astronauts. You see Kate Rubins off to the right there. She's in the suit with the red stripes. She's going to ingress or enter the portable foot restraint. You see Glover off to the left there, the suit with no stripes. He's already constructed that upper triangle. That's the first section of the bracket, the modification kit for installing the future solar arrays. He's already put that together. Everything's bolted up. And he's also strapped the pistol grip tool, already set to the configuration that Kate Rubins will need once he hands it off to her.
And Ike, as Kate is ingressing, if you have time to verify that the pit pins and MLI on the center pad are appropriately configured.
The one for the left strut is still folded up, but I can install that now.
Okay, we'll take that now. Right.
And I'll start with the pit pin into this bracket.
Frank, ingress.
Copy. And copy, Kate. Good job.
Great views from the high-definition camera view of Kate Rubins' helmet camera.
Alpha 2, clockwise 2.
She's confirming the pistol grip settings before she goes ahead and starts driving some of the bolts that you see on the center pad there that's currently soft docked to the mast canister. Driving those bolts will secure it in place.
5 through Mike 8 to torque. We anticipate 11.5 turns.
That'll be 11.5 torque. Wow. The adjustable distance that are ready to be here. What's going on?
Hey, Kate, from the HECA camera, it looks like that center pad is moving more than we expected. Do you mind rechecking the soft dock?
Did it stop that?
Okay, copy.
And did you say counterclockwise too, Frank? I'm sorry. Clockwise too, correct?
Yep, settings will be alpha 2, clockwise 2.
Wait, driving.
All right, Rubins has a good soft dock position on that center pad, driving that first bolt to secure it in place.
And Ike, as you put that short PGT on handrail 5372, remember you'll have to reach it from the other side, so you might want to cheat it over to the far side.
Say that again.
You'll be storing that short PGT on handrail 5372. You'll need to reach that from the other side, so you might want to cheat it over as far as you can.
Frank, I've got 7 turns. I do have good torque.
Rubins successfully drove all 4 bolts on the center pad. Teams on the ground are evaluating, making sure everything is okay before she goes ahead and leaves her current position. The next set of series of tasks require her to egress or get out of the portable foot restraint and reset it to get another angle so they can start working on the left side of the mast canister. So they're just making sure everything is okay before we go on to the next series of steps. In the meantime, Glover, you see off to the left from this view, is already getting some of those struts ready for the next series of tasks.
You could give the center pad a good wiggle and just make sure that it's solidly.
Rubins handing off that pistol grip tool to Victor Glover. He'll hold on to it and get set up for the next series of tasks where it'll be used to install the struts on the left side of the mast canister.
So you can take the lid off now?
FT.
Got it.
Right, Frank, ready for settings.
Okay, Kate. First, the WIFX extension will come to 1. So your new settings will be 6 Golf 1.
And can we start at the APFR?
Sure. Your APFR settings will be 12 Papa Papa Hotel 12. So, Kate, before you ingress, you'll want to get the left mid strut and put that on your BRT.
Didn't work. Sorry, that close.
I'm kind of stretched out. If you could pull me.
Have it on my BRT rep.
Okay. If you could hold it.
Yep.
Okay, you got it.
Resource.
All right, back to the bag. The hand?
Yeah, if you want to hold it for a second. We've got an HD video for you. Full EVA.
Yep, and also of note, it's actually significantly better than the WVS view, which is coming in very broken.
Okay. And that's the WETA issue, correct?
And that may be a tight fit for you there. You may want to go around the canister.
Roger.
There should be a pretty good translation path around the bottom side of the canister.
Oh, no way.
From this view, you can clearly see the mast canister. It is the soda can looking structure at the center of your screen. The astronaut with the red stripes is astronaut Kate Rubins. She's at the top of a portable foot restraint at the perfect angle to install the final two struts on the right side. Astronaut Victor Glover is making his way over to his work site at the bottom of the mast canister.
I hear you, my friend.
His next task is to install the lower strut on the right side. Getting a good angle, he'll need to use a pistol grip tool, the space drill, to secure that strut into place. That strut currently in tow by astronaut Kate Rubins. She'll hand it off once Victor Glover is in position.
I feel like this setting is one more click of roll, and I like it.
Kate, I understand you would want one more click of roll?
Negative. I feel like it is one more click of roll or something different than the other side, and I'm liking it very much.
Copy. Thank you.
Here's future iROSA.
All right, I'm in position.
Okay, coming towards you slowly.
And Ike, you'll want to verify the spherical bearing alignment, and then Kate, also a reminder to avoid imparting loads during the lower strut bolt install.
Copy, and same thing, I'll just hold it. I've got control, but gentle.
And you'll be driving Mike 20 to torque, approximately 15 turns total.
With that, the two astronauts will move on to the middle strut. The lower strut is installed. Might need a few more turns later with another tool, likely a torque wrench. It's the same on the other side as well. Give it a couple extra turns, make sure it's snug. In the meantime, the teams here on the ground are ready to move on to the next task, which is installing that middle strut on the right side.
For future iROSA, I extended when it was right in front of me versus waiting till I did the handoff and pushing away. Definitely recommend this the second way I did this mid-strut versus the first.
We copy, Kate. Appreciate the words. Okay, guys, looks like we have a go to translate. We'll just have to be extra careful and ginger on the while translating on the struts or the bracket. So, Kate, you will egress the APFR, and you're going to be working on closing the MOI on the struts on the right side. Ike, you're going to be driving the adjustment collar bolts, Mike 25 and Mike 26.
Here's the helmet camera view from Victor Glover. You can see there's two bolts on the adjustable section of that middle strut. He's just closing those up and locking it in place.
Okay, torque out at 3 turns. At a green light, 22 long torque.
Okay, understand 3 turns in is the tab secure?
No, it's still about a little more than a quarter inch. Okay.
Okay, let's try driving the other side. I can see if that helps.
That one went about a quarter of a turn and torqued out at 21.9, a green light.
Okay, understand, Ike. We're checking.
Victor Glover making his way up the left side of the structure. He's heading to the middle strut to do the same thing he did on the other side, just bolt down some of the bolts on the adjustable parts of that middle strut.
Copy nominal gloves, dry hap. Understand gauntlets are down. Okay. Okay, copy.
Again, the astronauts will continue to do these periodic glove and hap checks, making sure that there are no cuts or scrapes on their gloves, that their gauntlets or the fabric around their wrists are down, and that their hap, their helmet absorption pad on their head, is dry. All three confirmed by both of the astronauts as they continue through these next steps.
Copy, Ike.
This strut, unlike the one on the right, is able to rotate. Be relative to the telescoping portion.
And Ike, it looks like from what we saw in the WVS, the MOI on the left upper strut, so the triangle where the left upper strut and the bracket meet wasn't quite in place. Are you able to translate back up there and address that?
Left upper strut. Okay, all right, go check.
And Frank, that was 7.5 turns. Back it out plus my 2, so pretty close. I'm taking a look at the interface for an inspection. I don't see anything on the threads. I'm going to steal my PGT and get a closer look.
Copy, Kate.
And I see the interface completely clean. The mass canister. I'll check the bolt now.
Okay. Copy, Kate, on the interface. And as you check the bolt, if you could depress it so that as many of the threads stick out as possible, that would be great.
Flight controller is checking Rubin's location. One of her tasks is to stow the portable foot restraint that she's been using throughout the duration of today's spacewalk, get it nice and close to her work site that she'll have to address next spacewalk. She'll once again take the role of going in the portable foot restraint, perform a lot of the same tasks that she performed today, just on the other side of the port 6 truss. The other tasks that Rubins and Glover will both attempt to tackle will be the construction of the upper triangle. This was the first section of the bracket that was built at the beginning of today's spacewalk, and will eventually be mounted on the top portion of the mast canister. That's the first portion of the modification kit that needs to be installed, though it will likely not be installed during this spacewalk. It'll be installed later. So what they'll do is they'll just construct that upper bracket and then tie it down, make it nice and secure, so they can go ahead and just grab it on the next spacewalk.
The triangle is going to be centered on the middle battery in the middle row of batteries. So the triangle is essentially sitting smack in the middle of the IEA with the bracket facing inboard.
Okay, copy.
So that triangle will essentially sit right on top of the lithium-ion batteries that make up the interface of the electronics assembly that they're referencing. This is pretty close to the work site for the next spacewalk. They have the proper configuration.
Side, and then Ike will translate down to the 2 Bravo side and fold up the bag there, and then we'll head in and ingress.
Okay, you want us to both work on one bag at a time, or do you want me to go work on the 2 Bravo bags? The strap is disconnected. The lead straps are disconnected.
It's your preference at this point, Ike, but yeah, we think, Kate, if you're okay with it, finish closing up this bag. I can head down and start folding up the other bag.
You do that?
Yep.
Okay. See you shortly.
A great view of the port truss on the far left side. You can see Victor Glover wrapping up his procedures. He's just folding up the bag. He's going to tie it to his body restraint tether and take it with him all the way back to the airlock. In the meantime, Kate Rubins, you see off to the right, she's in the suit with the red stripes. She's just hanging on, waiting for Victor Glover to finish up. She's already finished her tasks, making sure the foot restraint is secured, and as well as the triangle bracket, the upper triangle, secured to the International Space Station. Both of them have completed their tasks for today and are heading back to the airlock to wrap up today's activities. The two of them successfully installed a modification kit to the 2B power channel. You can see it on the mast canister over there on the far side, kind of where Victor Glover is. It's the white structure in front of the mast canister. That's the soda can looking structure at the base of the solar arrays. That modification kit will house a future solar array upgrade. iROSA solar arrays will be deployed from that modification kit. Right now, that modification kit is in a good configuration. Teams on the ground will assess to make sure it's good to go. They can also address it on a later spacewalk if needed. But the primary task for the next spacewalk on March 5th will be to duplicate the efforts that we saw today on the 2B power channel. They'll just do it on the other side, on the 4B power channel, sort of at the bottom left of your screen.
You'll be heading to 5309 to retrieve your green hook.
Rubins taking the lead as Glover trails back to the Quest airlock. The two spacewalking astronauts on the International Space Station are flying 270 statute miles over the South Atlantic Ocean, about to cross into an orbital nighttime.
We copy, Ike, and we concur. And as a reminder, you will be ingressing the airlock first, Ike.
I'm going to just head aft, make room for him.
Great views as the two astronauts make their way to the Quest airlock. You see on the right there, Rubins is already there. She's the suit with the red stripes. Glover trailing very shortly behind. Rubins will need to move out of the way to make sure Glover ingresses first. He's got the task as the EV2 position to enter this airlock first. Rubins will enter shortly after Glover, and she has the task of closing the hatch. The spacewalk will officially end when repressurization begins.
Okay, we copied all of that. Good catch. You do have your own load path to the airlock, and so you still are in a good config.
And I've got my yellow hook on. I'm in workstation. I guess you can see my seat. Getting in.
As the sun sets on the International Space Station, Kate Rubins entering the Quest airlock, getting ready to conclude today's spacewalk.
And I can move my feet nadir.
You're trying to move your feet nadir?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Today's 7-hour and 4-minute spacewalk included the installation of a modification kit to the 2B power channel. This is the power channel that faces the Earth on the far port side of the International Space Station. That modification kit meant to very soon
Out of your space.
Noguchi just communicating to Rubins that his next steps will be to remove her safer unit. But of course, today's 7-hour, 4-minute spacewalk included the installation of that modification kit. It will eventually house solar arrays that'll be installed later this year on the two channels that our crew members worked on today. They, of course, completed the 2B power channel. They may readdress some components of that channel on later spacewalk. but the modification kit itself is structurally sound and in a safe configuration. The 4B power channel, they got started by building the first element of the modification kit, the upper triangle. This is the bracket that goes at the very top of the configuration, towards the top of the mast canister that deployed the original solar arrays. Rubins is scheduled to continue that work next Friday. You see Suichi Noguchi on the left there, who's the suit IV, the lead for walking our astronauts through the depressurization and now just recently repressurization sequences. Of course, Mike Hopkins off to the right helping him, and some of the Russian cosmonaut colleagues are coming in the back there. You can see helping Suichi Noguchi stow that safer unit off of Kate Rubins' suit. Kate Rubins being the astronaut in the suit with the red stripes. We also were able to see some of the first high-definition views from a space station, from a spacesuit today, using that new Heka camera you can see mounted on the left from our view here of Kate Rubins' suit.